Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the official Cannes Lion China Day program. Today is a day dedicated to exploring the creative work and amazing technological advances from China that are reinvigorating the global creative community. The great thing about this forum stage is that we have this question and answer with our speakers at the end of the section, giving you opportunity to really engage with some of the topics we'll be exploring today. We'll be using a Q&A tech platform today to let you ask better questions to our speakers and panelists, brought to you by our friends at EY. It will let you ask questions and leave feedback throughout today, and there's no need to download anything. Just put this URL that you can see on the screen, point out into your internet browser. So glsr.it/forum3. No need to have www in front, and it's not case sensitive. All you need is to be on our Wi-Fi system or use your 4G data. To ask your question, just type your question into the text box at the bottom of your screen. They will all appear at that big screen behind me, and I will post this to our speakers. Make sure you get involved. So up next, we'll have a session brought to you by iProspect China and Baidu. AI is, of course, a huge topic of discussion at the moment when we all debate whether there should be a day coming where humans will be beaten up by machines at almost every game. As such, it gives us enormous pleasure to have with two fantastically qualified people to speak on this subject. Please give them a big applause to Alex Cheng, Vice President of Baidu, and Tony Chen, CEO of iProspect China and Chief Innovation Officer of Dentsu China.
Good afternoon, everyone. A little bit introduction of myself. I'm Tony Chen, CEO of iProspect China. I'm also probably the only one Chinese that used to work for Yahoo, eBay, and Google in China, and they all fail in China. So I'm not proud of that. Okay, Alex.
Hi, my name is Alex Cheng, and I'm the VP in charge of the advertising platforms, as well as I'm the GM for the Baidu USA R&D office in the Silicon Valley, California.
Okay. So just a few weeks ago, Baidu's CEO Robin Li announced the new mission statement for Baidu, which is making the complicated world more easier or much simpler through technology. And then the whole company's focus also shift from think mobile to think AI. So today is quite a pleasure to have Alex to share with us Baidu's perspective about artificial intelligence and their recent cases that they developed that did quite meaningful to the society. So Alex, would you just make an overview introduction for Baidu to us?
Certainly. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to tell you a little bit more about Baidu and some of the things that we do with artificial intelligence. And as you all know, when you say about AI, artificial intelligence, we think about a new wave is coming. We think of a new revolution. It's going to change the way that people work and think and to be even more productive. We look at AI as the technology that's going to fuel the next revolution. Compare something as big as the Industrial Revolution. And in the past, the Industrial Revolution may be we built machines to help people to replace the labor force and to build economy in a more scalable way. Going forward, when we look at the AI revolution, we are looking at using technology to help people with knowledge, with how they use the brain to be even more productive than they have ever before. So for the last couple of years, Baidu was founded in 2000, and we have been a search engine company in China. Search engine itself is an AI application where the system understands a lot about the internet, and when the user comes to Baidu and asks questions, we give them the best answers we can. When you see AI, in the last couple of years, there's a new breakthrough, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the breakthroughs in the next minute. All right? So last year, MIT Review has listed Baidu as the number 2 ranking of the 50 world's smartest company. So we are very proud of that achievement. And to accomplish that, we actually have built R&D facilities both in US and also across China. Last year, Baidu invested almost 16% of our revenue into R&D, and this is number 1 among the top 500 companies in China. And this year, in the beginning of the year, Baidu has been named to be the driver for the AI technology adoption, together with the National Engineering Lab in China as well. Okay. And powering the AI behind, when we say, what is the new things that we could do with AI? Okay. So as Tony has mentioned just now, we see AI as our next mission since our founding of the company. We allow people to access information easier and easier, from the PC era to the mobile era, and then to the AI era. In the PC era, as you can see, there's the first generation of the knowledge revolution. We have a PC, and then we have a keyboard, we have a mouse, and the operating system, which is most successful for controlling the PCs, is the Windows system. And there you have using 2 hands to type on the keyboard, and then eventually the access becomes easier. We start using 1 hand instead of 2 to use a mouse to control the access of information. And about 10 years ago in 2007, when the mobile era kicked into high gear and becomes a rapid growth, we are seeing the second generation of the information access becomes even easier and easier. There you have the smartphones, the iPhones first come to light, and then followed by Android. And instead of using 1 hand, you're now using 1 finger. And you can access all the information you need with just 1 finger. So if you can see, for the last couple of decades, from 2 hands to 1 hand, from 1 hand to 1 finger. And going to the AI era, you don't even need a finger anymore. You don't need to lift a finger. All right? There's the 3rd generation. You just need to speak, and it shall be heard, and it will answer you. And in this new generation, Baidu is very proud to be one of the technology driver for this new era. And we built this OS called the Dual OS that can help understand. And the understanding has achieved at the new level now, 99.7% of understanding Chinese in the Chinese market. So it becomes easier, no hands, and the access of information. You can just ask and it'll come to you. So this is really the new way to live and to work. Right? And behind that, powering that AI revolution is what we call the Baidu Brain. And what is the Baidu Brain? It's a culmination of a set of technologies to make all this possible. Listed over here, you can see there are 4 major areas where the Baidu Brain bring about the AI revolution. First, the image technology. The brain can help the system to understand all pictures a lot better. It knows what's inside. In the past, it's very difficult to understand every piece of, every object within a picture. But now, we can feed in more and more pictures. It gets even better and better. Okay? And all this is possible with a new breakthrough in technology that happens only in the last 3 to 4 years. And this technology is called the neural network or the deep learning network. That's what we call it. Deep neural network or deep learning. Yes. Think of it this way. Why now? Many of you may ask. All right? They say artificial intelligence has been around for decades. I know my dad has been doing artificial intelligence back when he goes to college decades ago. But why now? There are several things that happens now that never happened before. Okay? First, there are a lot of data. And what's generating all this data? From the internet to the mobile, and now you have the Internet of Things. There are so many data that's been generating. Okay? And when you have all this data, the second thing that needs to happen is to have the hardware infrastructure, the cloud infrastructure, to process all these data. In the past, we are not good at processing so much data at one shot. But now technology has come to light. The data centers that we built has encompassed from the CPU servers that we all know today into new kinds of power units now. We call the GPUs and also the FPGA and what have you. So the data center is now becoming even more powerful, 10 to 100 times more powerful than in the past to digest this data. And the third is that having this data, having this cloud infrastructure, Baidu has been crunching numbers and building models in the past. Now, the third change that comes about is the deep learning model. And when we see this machine learning model that's different from the past, is that we can build big enough models to mimic the brain, how the brain thinks. We are beginning to see it learn, and learn very well, and it never forgets. It just keeps getting better and better and better as you feed it more data. So with all this tweeting, we can think of it as a rocket that's right now lifting off, going to the moon. We have the hardware infrastructure, and we have the algorithm to make it run. Then the more fuel that we give it as the data, the higher it goes. And now, as you can see going forward, more and more data is just going to make this Baidu brain to work even better and better, and you should achieve the breakthrough in this area. So for example, the images, we talk about understanding a little bit. We're beginning to understand the emotions behind pictures. If we see faces, we can recognize it with very, very high accuracy now. High enough that you can do security and payments to it. And we're going to show you some examples in a minute. Voice technology is another one. Again, I think voice right now, voice recognition and voice synthesis has become a solved problem. Voice recognition is to be able to understand any kind of nuances, any kind of dialects, accents that you have, to know really what you're saying. This system can do it now with very, very high accuracy, better than human being. And voice synthesis, we'll be able to talk to a machine for maybe 15, 30 minutes, and you will be able to understand the pattern and be able to generate voice that sounds very similar to you. All right? So again, this is very new with the same kind of emotion, intonation, the pace, and so on. So all this is becoming achievable through the Baidu brain technology. And the third area is called the natural language understanding. Beginning to understand the query a lot better in the past than the past. And the fourth is the user understanding. We understand the patterns now. With this deep learning model, beginning to see patterns, either from GPS locations where people have moved from places to places, and also in terms of knowing their behavior, what they like. And we're going to show you some examples later as well. Okay?
So let's start with face recognition. Face recognition technology is typically used for a security system or criminal investigation. I know that in Baidu building, the people the employee don't wear badge anymore, right? So people just go into the office building with their face, and then in the cafeteria, you can pay through your face as well, right?
Yes.
So, we go in and out for the Cannes Creative Forum, which I don't know how much Terry spent on the security costs, right? They check your badge when you come in and go out. So next time, probably Baidu can sponsor the face recognition,
We would love to, yes.
Yeah, okay, good. So there are some good cases that Baidu did for the society through the face recognition technology. This is the case that, searching for missing kids. The kids, you look at Fu Gui on the right, at the age of 6, 27 years ago, as every ordinary day, his auntie put him to the school. But since that day, he never made home again. During the interview, the 80-year-old grandmom said, "I want to see my grandson before I die. I want to see his face again." The auntie on the top said, "It's not just heartbreaking, it's torturing her every day because she's the one that put the kids to the school and never able to bring him home safely." The father said he refused to search a few years ago because he was afraid of hearing any bad news. But through Baidu face recognition technology, Fu Gui is reconnected with the family again. So what's so special about the case?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so last year we built this platform, and in conjunction with the national authorities, to build a platform so that we can match people together, right? Families who have lost kids decades ago, right? They are welcome to come to this platform and then enter the information that they know about the kid, where it was lost. It was lost decades ago, and as much information as they could. And at the same time, they're adults, and they know that they want to look for their parents, and we are trying to help them. So this platform was work in conjunction with the authorities, and we allowed them to enter this information. And amazing things becoming to happen. In the past, we've been trying to piece together information by the things that they entered, but chances are their memory didn't serve them well. They remember the wrong thing. and we were led to the wrong path, and we could never find a match.
So in this case, Fu Gui grew up, and then he was trying to find his family, but he reported the wrong date of missing and wrong place of missing to the police, and the police data were never, able to match them together. It was like 1,700 kilometers away from where he actually missed. But through Baidu's facial recognition technology, they put these two family members together again. Okay.
That's right.
Another case we want to share with you. It's fighting Alzheimer's disease. I don't know how many of you have seen this movie. So Julianne Moore plays a linguistics professor at Columbia University, but she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. So she tried so hard to remember the words that she was familiar with, the face of the family member, and even the ways home. So it is the same situation that every Alzheimer's patient or family member are facing with, the same challenges. In China, there are 9 million Alzheimer's patients, and if we counted their family together, there are almost 40 million people suffering from the disease. This year, Baidu invented something really good for the families suffering from Alzheimer's disease. Shall we take a look at the video first?
Yes, and I'll explain some of that behind that.
我不想忘记朋友的名字，还有他们的样子。
我不想忘记我的猫和狗。
我不想忘记我女儿。
我们的爱人，她的微笑。
我希望他能记得我。
妈妈，我们把眼镜戴上。
就算他什么都忘了，至少他知道我一直陪在他身边。
您的外孙明明，您的女婿志刚。
人脸识别服务会利用深度神经网络，对画面中出现的人脸做检测和识别。目前，百度的人脸识别技术已经达到了99.77%的准确率。
你的狗阿黄。
我们采用了高度优化的并行训练算法，采用了新的策略对数据做区分和通信，同时还采用了更大的深度学习模型和数据增强方式。
在黑暗的环境中，设备开启声纹识别技术。
妈，今天外面天气不错，我们出去逛逛吧。
您的女儿丹丹。
通过海量的语音数据以及非常深的卷积神经网络，让机器自动的去挖掘说话人中特征的表示差异。
目前，阿尔茨海默病还没有有效的根治，但是通过这个技术，可以有效改善病人生活质量，同时减轻病人家属苦恼。
当他的记性越来越差，这副眼镜会让他觉得，他并不是一个人独自面对困难。
This campaign actually just won the Pharma Silver Lions Awards 2 days ago. So congratulations to Alex and the Baidu team.
Thank you. Yes.
So it's actually not about the technology, right? It's about the humanity. It's about the human touch that make a big difference. Alex.
Yes, we've been working for interface for a period of time now. I mean, for the last 2 years, we are beginning to experiment. How do we let accessing of information easier through some kind of eyewear, right? And we can see some in the market, but it hasn't been successful. We have tried similar methods, but we know one thing is very clear. With our image and voice and synthesis technology, we know that this camera can be fitted with something that can look and then tell you what's in front of you. So that's the premise of what we think could be a good breakthrough, and we can help people. And we started explore different kind of scenarios. We have built glasses that help you shop, and you look at anything and tell you how much it is, and so on. So there are many scenarios we try, but many of them doesn't quite work as well, except this one. I think this one, as the health authority approached us and said of some of the issues, maybe the less fortunate, the blind, the visually impaired community, and also the old folks, right? And where they need this. So we're beginning to work on this maybe about a year and a half ago. Yeah. The technology behind is actually quite simple. And the glasses doesn't have to be avant-garde to be fancy, but something to be functional. And we actually built prototypes of this and working with hospitals and doctors to fine-tune this. And what we see right now is that some of the patients with the very early stages of Alzheimer's, and this is really helping them to improve their quality of life. And the setting up and the set of this for every patient is actually quite simple. And all the family members need to do is to upload through our platform a photo of their loved ones and just put in their tags of the names. And the rest of the system can do it. And we can even customize the voice to generate the voice that is more personal to her. It could be her daughter's voice speaking to the system, and we'll train the system to generate that voice and talking to her so that it's easier. Yeah. So we are looking at some of these, we're seeing amazing results, and we are continuing to improve the system. And I think there's still a long way to go to helping even more of the patients. And as patients get to the more advanced stages, some of this technology doesn't solve all the problems yet. So we are still working very closely with the researchers to really deliver all the help that we could using technology. And this is just a first step, and we'd love to do more and strive to really improve their quality of life. Yes.
So let's move on to the voice recognition. I think many of the industry experts predict that the input will be sort of moving forward from text-based input to voice-based input. And we also hear from Google that 50% of the search will be coming from voice-activated search by 2020. So what's driving the growth?
So we know that voice is a very easy way to access information. In the past, we know as the mobile era getting more and more popular, and mobile phones get more and more popular, we're beginning to see a growth of access of information through the phones. So whether you're using iPhone and you can press and talk to Siri and get information, or the Android for that matter. So we see that growing very quickly as well. So in our search queries in China, in the last couple of years, we can see growing from very little to maybe 10 or 15% of our queries is by voice, accessing by voice. Then we start seeing the next, and then also rapid climb in the voice input through input methods. And as we all know, when you're in a smartphone, you need to use the input method of your choice. And all these input methods will support the voice as an input as well. So in many cases, I'm not sure about all of you here, as we need to type Chinese into the text, and we are rushing for time going from places to places, people are getting used to pressing and then just say what they want and then send a text out to people, to their friends, saying that they'll be late and so on. So voice as an input method is growing very, very rapidly. We have over 100 million of these kind of input methods every day.
I think a lot of it is coming from the Uber driver, right? DD driver.
Yeah. Yes, a lot of ways that you can, instead of typing, you can use that to type in and access the information that you need, right? And I think there'll be a new wave coming. It's still small, but it will grow very rapidly. And it's what we call the Home Assistant. Home Assistant, or like Amazon Echo. So we have a voice. We are working with our partners, and many of them, and we're going to have some announcement next month in our developer conference. And we will have more of these devices will reach the market very, very quickly. And that will be another new wave where people access information, asking the system of all kinds of information they need, personal and also of general interest.
Since you mentioned the Home Assistant, here is a very interesting survey conducted by Stone Temple, the digital agency. So the survey basically asked these 4 sort of voice assistant 5,000 general knowledge questions. And then this is the percentage that they answer, or professionally you call recall, right? And the percentage of the correct answer rate, correct answered. So it looks like Google and Microsoft are doing better than Siri or Alexa.
Yes.
How do we read this?
How do we read this? Okay. I read through the paper, and I think it's no surprise here. There were like 5,000 queries, and you can ask the system. You can ask Google Home, ask Cortana, or ask Siri, or ask Amazon Alexa about some information. How high is Mount Everest? And how far is between New York and San Francisco, for example, right? Questions like this, general knowledge. And search companies, right, like Google, like Bing, that's powering Cortana, and also like Baidu, that's powering our home assistant device. We have been building that knowledge base for quite a while now. So accessing that information, I think, is easier compared to, let's say, Siri or Amazon Alexa. Maybe they're corpuses, or maybe they're not a search engine company by nature. So as for general questions, they will not be able to do as good as the search engines like Google or Bing, for that matter. And between Google and Bing, I know that Google has a bigger market share globally, and it probably has more information and better organized, and it probably can answer more questions than Cortana. Right.
So if we put Baidu's Dual's OS here, where do you think it will be positioned?
Okay, maybe it's hard to compare because our Dual OS Dumi, it understands Chinese, so it doesn't understand English. But in terms of the types of information, we did do our own evaluation in a slightly different way, right? What I see as these numbers is like, how useful is this assistant? Is it real? Can you really depend on it? And we do tests based on that metric, right? Instead of having just 5,000 random queries, we just have queries that have been used by their frequency as well. So we know that a lot of our internet users at home, they are interested in finding out about, when is the movie going to show, or when is the next TV series going to show, or who is in that TV series, and so on. There are a lot of maybe entertainment-related queries, and these are the queries that we have been processing for many, many years. And we have a very comprehensive knowledge graph of all the entertainment-related information being very well organized. And a lot of these queries, for a good percentage, could be 20 to 30%. I think we can nail it very easily, right? And so on. So overall, I think Baidu also has #1 properties in mapping of the POIs. We have 50 million POIs covering in China. So if you want to ask something about where's the closest dentist and where's the closest dentist to this subway station and so on, all these we can really figure it out very well because we've been doing this for a long time now. So overall, I would say, if I would wager based on our evaluation, we are definitely, I think the technology is here, is definitely usable. That our evaluation shows we have about 90% of the recall or the coverage. So 90% of the times that what you're asking him, the system can answer you. For the precision, it will be similar to Google. We have about 90% of the precision. That means if you ask the system will answer you, and 90% of the time, it gives you a correct answer. Yeah.
So the challenging part for voice recognition in China is that people speak different dialects, right? People from Beijing and Shanghai, they have different accents, and especially for the taxi driver, Didi drivers, it is actually very challenging for the voice assistant to recognize the local dialect. But Baidu actually did something very interesting and innovative, partnering with KFC. They launched the first AI-based service robot that can understand all kinds of local accents and then help the customer order the foods and the drinks that they want. Let's take a look at the case.
They were all saying hello in different Chinese dialects. In China, there are 56 ethnic groups speaking over 80 dialects, which often sound completely different from Mandarin. There are many young people coming to big cities from their hometowns across China to chase the Chinese dream. Here in the big cities, they speak Mandarin so they can fit in. But something really bothers them. When the waiter takes my order, he asks me to repeat what I have just said.
Sometimes when I talk to my colleagues, they ask me to just type. I worry that other people will correct my Mandarin.
I feel like an outsider. KFC hopes that every young person can order with ease and not have to worry about their accent.
Hello, I am Dumi.
KFC has worked with Baidu to develop an AI concept store in Shanghai and launched the first ever AI service robot in the fast food industry in China, Dumi, which can understand different accents to take orders.
我叫杜密，请问您是在这吃还是在走？
在这里吃。
请看我身边的大屏幕。
我要4号餐。
好的。
Through AI technologies such as natural language processing, machine translation, multimode computing, and internet data mining, Dumi can accurately recognize accents from the 3 largest dialect systems in China. Meanwhile, Dumi can tell the age, gender, or even the mood of a person using facial recognition technology. Putting these data together, Dumi will give the daily recommendations, so everyone ordering from Dumi will feel at ease.
We hope that AI is not just an elaborate technology, but a solution to people's daily needs.
Dumi can even respond to people's emotions and learn from human interactions. KFC Dumi has been gaining impressive news coverage since the launch. Hi Dumi, wake up, I want to order.
So voice assistant or voice recognition technology, I think, is also widely adopted for customer service center, call centers. When I used to work with Dell, people speak different local language, and then for our customer, service representative, it is so hard to understand what the client or what the customer want. And I thought that would be a huge benefit to the call center as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's right.
So let's talk about how AI is empowering creativities. So in digital age, most of the innovation, is actually driven by technology. At the age of AI, I thought, how can we leverage AI wisely to create wow moment for the customers? Mm-hmm. Here are 2 cases. Mm-hmm. So Alex, you want to talk about the case?
Yes. So we're looking at new ways to engage with users. And I think AI has a role to play with that. And this particular technology that we're using here is called the augmented reality, the AR. And if, let's say, for the Children's Day, okay, it's going to play that, okay? Yeah. Yes. So again, it's a fun thing to do for kids during Children's Day, as you search for different kind of animals, and the animals can animate in front of you. And based on the context of the scenarios behind, you'll make it work within that environment. Just be fun, right? So what we are seeing here is that using the AI technology, it can help you better engage with the audience, and depending on how they perceive the world, and we can make it part of the world as real as possible. So again, this, I think, for advertising as well, we actually work with a lot of advertisers to doing this together with their stores, so to create a stronger impression and engagement with the consumer.
So this is another case that Baidu did for the sort of the society, recreating the glory of the terracotta warriors. Many of you might have heard about this or might have visited Xi'an. And the original color for those warriors actually is not just plain, it is quite colorful. But when the time goes by, it changed. So Baidu using their AI technology to recreate the glory of the terracotta warrior. So let's take a look at the case.
公元1974年，破碎的秦始皇陵兵马俑走出历史烟尘，古迹经得起世人赞美，却抵不住岁月侵毁。如何让旧日的智慧在今日重现辉煌？时间沉淀了历史，也造就了科技的力量。今天，我们率先尝试用科技，通过手机百度，让秦始皇陵地下军团有机会重获新生。用科技，让这支与古罗马同时代的军队，在2000年后再次踏上征程，尽显一统天下的风采。 未来亦将通过百度的 AI 技术，让千年的智慧有机会得以重现。用科技为历史赋能，用 AI 溯文明之源。百度。
So we work with the museum, the Xi'an Museum, to bring all these artifacts to life. We learned that some of the terracotta, there hasn't been unearthed yet. Once they're exposed to air, within 2 days, they'll lose all the color. So what we are trying to do is that we try to get the original color that it was before it was oxidized, and try to imagine that if everything was that color, and whether we could restore it to its original glory. And that's what we have tried to do that, to better help understand the marvel of this museum and the site, historical site. So we're continuing to do that for more and more places. I mean, there's a very rich history within China, and in Europe as well. This is my first time in Cannes, and I look at all these historical buildings, and I go to a restaurant that's been 100 years old. There are so many questions I have about my surrounding. We hope to be the way to access that information to be more real and pointing to anything in front of you and can restore it to its history and telling you a little bit more about that. And this is just one example starting from these historical sites. And in the future, I think it will be even more up to your imagination to help you understand better your surroundings.
So since this is a creative forum, that let's zoom in to the technology. How can we use AI to help transforming the way we do marketing? So in fact, today consumer and brands are interact with AI in ways big or small. Because when you serve on the video site, they will recommend the movie that you might like, the product that you might want on e-commerce site, or the ads appearing on your social media network. It's all based on not just your behavior, but also people that are similar to you, or had a similar pattern of your behavior that the website want to make sure that they recommend the right message or right product to you. And as a matter of fact, as a result, it not just giving the users a better user experience, but you actually spend more time with that website or more money with that e-commerce platform. So Wall Street Journal actually call it hidden revolution. So I want to ask Alice, for Baidu brand that you just mentioned, how do you help the marketer at the background, with the new way of doing marketing?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So the Baidu brain, as I mentioned about the 4 areas, will translate very nicely into areas that the advertisers cares about. And many of these areas, and we're working together with Tony as a great partner of ours in exploring them and really help the advertisers to reach out to the consumers to engage them deeply. First of all, we have this understanding of the customers. We can see more and more of the customers' behavior online as well as offline. Offline as in the places that they go to, where they work and so on, and to derive patterns and understanding their intent, their user profile, and the consumer behind that. So we have a very much in-depth user understanding, and we could do it a lot more better now through the Baidu brain technology. And also the core of that is a knowledge graph. Again, a knowledge graph is something that we built that we understand. If let's say a mom of a newborn is looking for milk powder, baby powder, milk powder for the baby, we know that she probably just have a newborn and she might need other services as well. Maybe she will be interested in a yoga class, for example, because after giving birth. So this knowledge graph encapsulates a lot of the consumer intent. We'll continue to use deep learning to build this graph to know how we can recommend more services to the customers. The second part is about enhancing the creativity. You see a little bit about that with the AR and the VR technology already. Image processing and the voice, I think, is a technology that can also enhance the creativity. What I mean by the images is that we know that image can really speak 1,000 words and impacts the consumer as you try to generate the demand. So some of the ads that we work together, whether it's part of the feeds or part of the context as a reading, we can pick the right image for the right person and to deliver the best result. And just want to give you one example. One of the Hollywood studio is working with us as they introduce movie into China. And instead of having just 1 or 2 or 4 trailers, they make 50 trailers. 50 trailers. And for these 50 trailers, we'll figure out which trailer will show best when for which demographic of users. And they see great results with that. And furthermore, they're seeing that showing the trailer itself is not good enough. If I give them a little bit of engagement, couldn't be liking or sharing, and that engagement will improve the chances of the person buying the ticket by 50%. And in China, you can buy the ticket online, and we provide the service as well. So again, using AI technology, we can really enhance the creativity beyond just showing an ads creative that we typically do in the past. The third part is about the transmedia storytelling. And what I mean by that is that there are many different forms of accessing information now. People come to Baidu to search for information, and they could be reading feeds at our partner site, and some of that could be information that can push to them, recommend to them. And some of the screens at home, the TV screens, are getting more and more intelligent. They have what you call the OTT screens, or intelligent screens, that are connected to the internet, and you can do specialized targeting of the information to them as well. And lastly, we have this, the cloud that's hooked up behind that can see, it can understand the person to have a full life cycle of engaging the consumer for advertiser, from feed to search to the home screens and to other screens offline as well. So this whole storytelling could be even more comprehensive and embracing. And lastly, about the customer lifetime value, we're actually working closely with some of our top advertisers and connecting directly into their CRM system. And what I mean by that is that they may know a lot about their loyal customers, and they want to be able to reach out to them through all the, across all the media with the storytelling and with the kind of creativity as well. Guess what? They are connecting deeply with us and with our system. At the same time, they can do lookalike. Very powerful lookalike using our deep learning technology. They can see, besides this person, are there more people like this consumer that's been a loyal customer for many years? And we're beginning to see amazing results there. We can grow the reach by like tenfold with very good level of conversions, very close to the loyal customers. So all this is all powered by the deep learning technology behind. And again, this is just very early on. I think we only have been doing this for the last 2-3 years. I'm sure going forward, there'll be even more that we could do and to empower our advertisers and our partners.
Okay, great. So thanks, Alex, for the sharing. So we're seeing that AI is empowering people to achieve greatness. We see that AI is making the smart people smarter, making the business more agile, making the brand closer to your consumer. So I guess this is probably the end of our presentation, and then it's time for 4 minutes Q&A. Okay, questions. We all know that artificial intelligence is very complicated, but need to be simplified, fast, intensive, and accurate. How will Dentsu Aegis network? Oh, it's a question for me. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna work closely with a partner like Baidu, Tencent, Alibaba, and then continue to dig out the those big data, those deep data that invisible to the human, and actually machine learning or the AI can help a lot on not just the data side, predictive analytics side, but also I think a lot of creative can be generated through those insights. So we should actually work closely with our partner, leveraging the AI as a creative tool to create more engaging campaign, more personalized campaign for our users and clients. Okay.
And maybe I'll just add one more line to that.
Yep, sure.
Yes, is that we are very eager to work with our partners and to empower everyone in the industry to leverage these AI technology. And the way we do so is by introducing what we call the AI cloud or the marketing cloud as well. So through that cloud, we hope our partners can develop strong applications together with us, and we'd love to unleash this power and the knowledge graph and the user intent and the profiles that we understand of the consumers, and help the whole system, ecosystem, to build and better serve our consumers.
Second questions. Alex?
Yes. So Baidu already had the real cases at image recognition level, such as the terracotta warriors recovery. So what is the next extension or application will be in the marketing and business scenes? Yes, yeah. So I think there are some of the things that we've been trying and been contemplating, again, with our partner and advertiser. The whole thing about the restoring the image recognition is that how do you bring the offline world and enhance it and augment it with more information? And we are beginning to see that a lot of the stores and product that they do at the stores and at the services, we're working with some of the product brands that looking at the product itself, if you take a picture of it, it can reveal some of the information behind it. And it's as a way of better engaging. So more of this, I think, will come to light in the near future. Yeah.
So I think we can pick the last question, because that is the award-winning case we just shared. What's the go-to-market strategy? Is it just a case for the award, or it's really going to help?
So the Alzheimer patient
yes.
Class, yes, yeah. So I think the goal of that project is not to, it's not to do a wide commercial product for it. It's not for the making money sake. We're actually working closely with the research institute, the doctors, to make sure we get the product right. And there are several of them that we are talking together. And also we are talking to the drug companies as well. Because some of the patients, they may not recognize the drug they are eating. And sometimes it can be scary. And they don't take the drugs that they're supposed to take, and it could be detrimental to their health. So we are also working with the drug companies as well to enhance the capability to recognize the drug they're supposed to take, and then very gently reminding them to take those drugs. Yeah. So again, we are looking more into the social impact of this. The technology is nothing new. I think the application is something that we felt compassionate about, and to make sure that we impact great impact to these the less fortunate.
Yes, and we look forward to see those inventions that had a greater benefit to the whole society. Okay.
Yes.
Thanks, Alex, for sharing. That's the end of the session. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.